Aloha and welcome. We're continuing our journey in secure software development, and in this section, we're going to be talking about secure coding practices. So we have something called secure coding techniques, and in secure coding, also known as secure programming, we talk about the practice of developing software in a way that minimizes the risk of creating software vulnerabilities. You don't want to be creating code that doesn't, have sufficient memory allocated, and you end up getting buffer overflows and things like that. So the goal of secure coding is to create software that's going to function as it's intended to function, and even if it's subjected to malicious attacks. So you want robust software that's able to handle being hammered by attackers if need be. So secure code techniques are methods that are designed to improve the code security. And there's a number of methods within this secure coding techniques to do that. One of them is obfuscating your code. Another is reusing code. You can remove dead code. Then you can use third-party software libraries and software development kits, which are known as SDKs. So the first of these is obfuscation or camouflage. So obfuscation or camouflage is kind of counterintuitive in a way. Normally, when you're developing software, you want to have software that's really well written. You want your function names to clearly identify what you're doing. You want comments in your code that are going to explain to the next person that inherits your software what exactly you're doing and why you're doing it. Obfuscation is the opposite of that. This is that step that you take before you deploy your software, where you take all those good things that you've done and then you scramble it. So instead of having a good descriptive name for a function, you're going to change that to something that, hides the meaning of it, what it's doing. You can change your variable names, you can change your function names, you can change all kinds of stuff as long as, you need to be consistent though when you're calling it. Make sure that you get all references to the function or the variables or whatever done properly. But that's the thing of obfuscation. You're trying to hide all that. You're stripping out all your comments. You're making it so that when somebody gets a hold of this, you can't reverse engineer it and figure out what it's doing. By doing that, you're gonna help stymie people from actually going in there and breaking it and using it for their purposes. So another technique that we talk about here is code reuse or software reuse. And this is a very important thing that we talk about in software development. So when you have a piece of software that works and it's good and it does a piece of, it does some functionality, once you've got that and you've tested out and it's been in production, it's been used for things, it's a good idea to reuse code because you don't have to go through all that. You know that you can trust this code because it's been tested, it's been through all those levels of examination, and it's been field proven to work well. So code reuse, software reuse is really smiled upon because you're getting more secure software this way. The opposite of this is something called dead code. So sometimes people will copy when they're making a project, instead of starting out with a blank canvas, they may just grab some stuff, some code from a project that was similar or maybe had some functionality that they want to copy over. So they have all this code, they just make a copy of it, and there's a lot of code in there that's not going to be used. And a lot of this code, it could be that it's called. It may not be called, or maybe it is executed but doesn't really do anything. So it's just taking up space, and it's problematic in that this dead code essentially is not giving you any benefit. So and if it's running, then it's going to if it is run with no effect, then it's just sucking up program memory and computation time. So you want to get rid of that, to make your software as lean and efficient as possible. So you can detect dead code in there by doing code analysis and data flow analysis. So then if you've got like an optimizing compiler that you're using, that can remove the dead code that's in there. And that helps, tidy up your code. Then one of the last things we talk about is third-party libraries. That's going to be reusable software components that are developed by entities other than the original publisher of the software development. So, there's all kinds of third-party software libraries out there they can enable you to integrate pre-tested and reusable code with your new software that you're making. So you may also get SDKs, a software development kit. That's a collection of software development tools in one big package. So an example they give is when you're getting an Android SDK, if you want to do software development for the Android platform, you'll get a debugger, a handset emulator, libraries, and an integrated development environment, an IDE. You also get the documentation, sample code, and tutorials that are used for it. So it's everything that you need to do your work on that. So these SDKs help you write better code and get up to speed quicker on the stuff that you're going to be doing. So use these third-party libraries and these software development kits. And the last thing we talked about is sandboxing. And sandboxing is the security practice that involves the creation of a separate isolated environment that we call a sandbox. And that's where we're going to do some testing and executing of unknown code or untrusted code applications or files that we think may be problematic. There's other areas that use sandboxing, like if you're let's say you've got a new Windows patch or something, you want to make sure it works on the system you have, you'll spin up a sandbox. You'll do your testing in there to make sure it works, and then you can, throw it away, afterwards. You just use this sandbox image, spin up a virtual machine, test it out. You can also do this if you've got a suspicious email that comes in. You can take it into a sandbox, examine it, and not worry about the effects being persistent because you're just going to take the sandbox and toss it afterwards. So that's the all the things that we're going to cover here. Again, secure coding techniques. We're talking about obfuscation or camouflage. We're talking about code reuse, software reuse, getting rid of dead code. We talk about using third-party libraries, software development kits, and we talk about using sandboxes to do things in a safe manner. So that's all for this section. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out, and I'm happy to help. Aloha.